Let me tell you a little story about Death Knight. Looking at this badass, most iconic of them, you can feel the Death's presence. He is probably the first Death Knight in most people's hearts. But it is not where the story begins. Let us go back, far back to the times of First War, when orcs and humans first meet each other. During the war, Orgrim Doomhammer attempted a coup and overthrown Black Hand, becoming the chieftain. He did not like warlocks that much, so he murdered most of the Shadow Council, excluding Gul'dan, who was in coma at the time. All would be well, but now orcs did not have a weapon that would match mages and priests of Stormwind. So Gul'dan promised such weapon for Doomhammer to save own head from being chopped off, execution style. So Gul'dan started his project of raising the dead, in which he failed miserably time and time again. That is until he found the recipe. A soul stone, jewel made of heart, which he ripped out from chests of his students. Body of human warrior fallen in battle. And finally, soul of his murdered fellow warlocks. To be fair, ingredients quite easily obtainable on Azeroth. That's how OG Death Knights came to be. Then came the Second War, and orcs once again faced the humans, but this time the whole continent of Lordaeron stood together as an alliance. And so they fought. Hordes started to get the upper hand, and as they were about to strike the decisive blow, very surprisingly, Gul'dan ran off with half of the army to find the tomb of Sargeras. Alliance took advantage of that, and in the end crushed the remaining forces of the Horde. Most Death Knights died on battlefield in that war, and those who lived were forced to flee. And so they jumped back in through the Dark Portal and went straight to our all-time favorite, Draenor. On their home planet, they teamed up with Ner'zhul and chilled for a bit. That is, until it got blown to pieces. They escaped through portals once again, just to be captured by the Burning Legion and turned into leeches to serve for eternity. Not all of them suffered this cruel fate. Some managed to escape, and can be to this day seen in what remains of Draenor, that is in Outlands. But this is not where the story ends. Fast forward a bit, and we land in the time of Scourge, the events of Warcraft 3. Ner'zhul, or rather what's left of him, started to manipulate Prince Arthas, slowly but surely, turning him into the champion of the Scourge, most powerful amongst the Death Knights. I will not be going into details here as Arthas deserves a separate video. Lich King's army of Death Knights grew stronger with each fallen warrior of the light. Some of the paladins even volunteered to become Death Knights in exchange for promises of power and immortality. It wasn't all death and roses though, you know. Ner'zhul Death Knights lived in constant torment and suffering, and it was in their purpose to inflict that suffering upon all the living creatures, much like modern day teenagers. The new generation of Death Knights, created by Lich King, was harder, better, faster and stronger than any Death Knight before them. But there was just one catch. They did not have a free will, yet again, strangely similar to teenagers. But that changed. Arthas wanted to create something better than mindless killing machines. And so the Death Knights of Archeris were created. The aristocracy in death, which we as WoW players are able to pick as a class for our fatas pandas. Aristocracy my ass. Arthas used these elite warriors to lure out and exterminate the greatest heroes of the light, the Argent Dawn. He did not care if his aristocracy was slaughtered in the process, as he could just raise another bodies to serve him. But he's clearly forgotten about that free will situation. His Death Knights did not like being the canon meat for Lich King, and so they joined the living in fight against Arthas. That's the story of Death Knights, brought to life against their will, following orders from a cruel tyrants and suffering endlessly. But in the end, they saw through the lies and the deception and fought to win better tomorrow. I guess teenagers really were the inspiration for that one.
I tell you this, for when my days have come to an end, you shall be king.